Yo, yo, yo. I'd like to welcome y'all back out to the channel, man. It's the boy Chaos. I'm right back with you. This is going to be part 3 of manipulating reality. For the people who haven't seen the first couple of videos, please go back. I've been loving all the feedback. If anybody have any questions about anything that I'm going over or, that I'm attempting to explain from my own personal experiences, I'll be more than happy to, share with you just more in depth on any topic. So anything anybody have any questions about, please feel free to ask. Like I said, this is just going to be part 3. I'm just going to jump back into it. This is probably not as going to be as long as the first couple of videos. Just a couple other things that I really just wanted to touch on, and that I really just felt that, if people really understood in a certain type of way, that, they can really help it and help use it to better themselves. So just gonna jump right into it. This again is coming from the Seth material from that was channeled by Jane Roberts. And he also says the eye projects and focuses the inner image onto the physical world in the same manner that a motion picture camera transfers an image onto a screen. So pretty much what he's talking about, reality, and he's talking about how pretty much how we create our own reality, and how everything that we see in the physical starts within us. So he says the eye projects and focuses the inner image. Now the inner image is whatever you're thinking about. That's your thoughts. So the inner image, whatever you visualize in your head, he's saying the eye projects and focuses the inner image onto the physical world in the same manner that a motion picture camera transfers an image onto a screen. So anybody who's ever been to the movies, you understand that they have a projector in the back, and the projector is projecting the image onto the screen, and you're watching the screen. So he's pretty much saying it's the same thing with you, and this is how your body works. Your thoughts are actually the real things that's going on inside of you, and everything in the reality is just on a screen. It's just being projected. And just doing some meditations, maybe like a couple years ago, I got a real good explanation on this. So when I read this information, something else that like I said, I already knew to be true, because Spirit was telling me one day in meditation, it was explaining to me about how reality is real similar to television, and how TV works, and just understanding the concept of pixels. And they was explaining to me to think about pixels in the same manner that you can look at like the fabric of life, like the smallest particles that science knows. In this reality, you can look at like pixels in a TV screen, and within every single pixel in reality, it contains all the colors. So any pixel can become any image or anything. So pretty much what we're doing is we're projecting our inner thoughts or our inner visions onto these pixels. So, and if anybody who's ever looked into the double split experiment, I do have this video posted on my on the channel. If you know about the double split experiment, they tell you that particles are just waves until you just look at them. Until a particle is viewed, it's just a wave. So it doesn't form, it doesn't become anything until you focus your eye or your intention or your vision on these particles. So this is how reality works, right? So if we wasn't looking at anything, you close your eyes. If you're in a room by yourself, there's literally nothing that exists until you open your eyes and you focus and you dictate to these pixels what to become. And you're dictating them what to become by your inner thoughts and your inner images. And this is what he's talking about. The eye projects and focuses the inner image onto the physical world in the same manner that a motion picture camera transfers an image onto a screen. It's the same thing. Reality is made of, actually I think the smallest particles is neutrinos. These are the smallest particles that scientists today have been able to find. And they say that I think over 50 trillion neutrinos can pass through your body every second. So 50 trillion neutrinos can pass through your body every second. These are the fabrics of life. You can think about these neutrinos the same way as pixels within a TV. So, and you already know the TVs that have the better pixels, they have better images, and they produce better images. So when you're looking at reality, you really programming the pixels, or you programming it all from inside. Everything is coming from you, and you really have to understand this. And if you're trying to go to the next level, and you really trying to interact, and you trying to, you really trying to do the magic, and you trying to make it work, just understanding and trying to see it this way will really help your magic. So he also says the mouth creates words, the ears create sound. The difficulty in understanding this principle is due to the fact that we've taken it for granted that the image and sound already exists for the senses to interpret. Actually, the senses are the channels of creation by which each idea is projected into material expression. Same thing I'm saying. And so just going back to the thing what he's saying about sound, he's saying the ears create sound. The difficulty in understanding this principle is due to the fact that we've taken it for granted that the image and the sound already exists for the senses to interpret it. Now there's a book out that a guy named Ted Andrews wrote called Sacred Sounds. One of the best books that I've read on just sound itself. And once again, when I read this, I already knew it to be true, because this is something that he talks about in his book about how sound interacts with your cells. So anybody who, if that jumps out at you and you want to find out more about that, definitely get the book Sacred Sounds by Ted Andrews. Very, very, very good book. So he's telling you, again, just how everything starts from within. And once you really start meditating, you can really, and really getting deep into your meditations, you really can start to see this more. Because what you're doing is you separating yourself from this reality. This is just one reality. So you taking the more you separate yourself from this reality, you detach from it, the more you can see how you can manipulate it, and the more you can see just how it works. The more you just get, the more it'll just start coming to you, and you'll be able to see that certain things like this are true. If you never came across any information like this, you never heard anybody talking about anything like this, yeah, this is gonna sound extremely crazy. It's gonna sound like, what the fuck am I talking about? But it starts with the seed. It starts with your curiosity, and then the more you start paying attention to certain things, you're firing off these neurons. Your neurons is how you interact with the reality. And he's gonna, matter of fact, I could just jump into that right now. He says, the objective world is the end result of interaction. You can indeed manipulate the objective world from within. And for this is the means and definition of true manipulation. True manipulation is changing the outside world from the inside. Because once you realize that, okay, wait a minute, I'm creating all of this. This is all my creation. You know what I mean? This is why they say it's so important that you have to surround yourself with positivity. What I've been saying in pretty much all of my videos is all I talk about, because it's the key to everything. Being positive and being true, and it's really staying true to yourself and your own beliefs, and just walking and living that way in your own truth. And whatever that is, just you have to stay true to yourself. It's really about finding out who you are, your own goals and what you want to achieve in life. And once you find that out, you know what I mean, it's staying true to that and not going outside of that. So, and it's different for everybody. Everybody has a different path, you know what I mean? And there's so many different ways that each different person can go and accomplish their goals. Everybody don't have to do things the same way, you know what I mean? It might be okay for this person to do A, B, and C when this person can't do that, you know what I mean? And they might be in the same reality, It's everybody's paths is different. So once you realize what your path is, and you realize that you are creating it and you in control, you can start changing and dictating it to be whatever you want it to be. This is magic. How do you change the inside to affect and change the outside? You know what I mean? And this is exactly what he's talking about. And this, he really broke it down just in a really, really profound way. He says, thoughts and images are formed into physical reality and become physical fact. Thoughts and images are formed into physical reality and become physical fact. They are propelled chemically. A thought is energy. A thought is energy. It begins to produce itself physically at the moment of its conception. Mental enzymes are connected with the pineal gland. As you know them, body chemicals are physical, but they are the propellants of this thought energy, containing all the codified data necessary for translating any thought or image into physical actuality. Man, like I said, he really puts it in a profound way. I'm gonna just have to go back and read this again. And I like I said, he's touching on the same subject, but he's explaining it in different ways. So now he's talking about your mental enzymes and how everything is how it's actually connected to your physical reality, how the inside is actually connected, not just in your mind, in a physical way, just because you can't see that you're connected to everything around you, 360 degrees, everything you can see, it's coming from you, because it's like you're the projector. When we were talking about the projector, you the center. So you're projecting everything out. You're controlling all the pixels around you 360 degrees. So it's like if instead of watching a flat TV screen, if you was to be able to have a TV screen and bend a TV screen around you 360 degrees and have it just like virtual reality is what it is. And you in the pixels, you're inside virtual reality, but you're controlling the virtual reality while you're in it. You know what I mean? But this state is just a very, very hard state. This is why they talk about matter and why they say matter is so dense, and why certain beings don't want to come down to this level. Why it's so low, because everything, it takes so long for you to control the pixels. It's the timing. You know what I mean? That's why you might do a ritual today and you might not see the results for a month or 2-3 weeks or maybe even 6 months, depending on what it is. It might take a year for you to get your results, depending on, you know, what you're doing and your amount of energy that you put into it and your amount of emotion. You know what I mean? Depending on what you do, it can take time. That's because the pixels down here is so dense. But on the higher planes, on the higher up dimensions, you can make things just appear like that just by thinking of them. It's the same pixels, it's the same space, it's the same area, everything is the same. It's just you have more control on the higher levels. You know what I mean? But until you get to those higher levels, you have to deal with this world and get this world to be and get this reality where you want it, you know? So if you're trying to get that done, it takes time. So this is what he's talking about. Chemicals are released through the skin and pore systems in an invisible but definite pseudo-physical formation. The intensity of a thought or image largely determines the immediacy of its physical materialization. What I just talked about. The intensity of a thought or image largely determines the immediacy of its physical materialization. There is no object about you that you have not created. There is nothing about your own physical image that you have not made. He's just telling you flat out, man. Very, very good information. Now he says, he talks about how the chemicals are released through the skin and the pore system. Now this is something that I read in another book and something else that I believe to be true. He talks about the invisible stream Anybody who's ever checked out the artist Alex Gray, he has some very, very, very good art out on about the body and how the body and the spirit interacts with the physical reality, and this is pretty much what he based his whole career on, and he shows in great detail. Anybody who's like, if you're interested in this, you have to check out his work. If you haven't seen any of his work, draws in great detail and shows you exactly the way it is, and it's exactly like that. When I go into meditation, you're connected to this grid, and he shows you in great detail in his work, and he's saying it right there. It's like I said, something else I already knew to be true, because I came across Alex Gray like years ago. So definitely check out some of his work, and it gives you a great visual. And when you go into your meditations, those visuals, what he's showing you, how about the energy centers and the body and how it's connected to the grid, use those images to focus on in your meditation. When you think about your own body, think of yourself as those images, just pertain it to yourself. That's key. And I really got some real good results when I really started doing that. Because that's the way it actually is, and you start taking it on more when you start building up your energy body just by using those visualizations. So definitely check out Alex Gray, man. Like I said, something else that I knew to be true. Moving right along, he says, the physical environment is as much a part of you then as your body. The physical environment is as much a part of you then as your body. Your control over it is quite effective. For you create it as you create your fingertip. Objects are composed of the same pseudo-material that radiates outward from your physical image. Only the higher intensity mass is different. When it is built up enough, you recognize it as an object. At low intensity mass, it is not apparent to you. Exactly what I just touched on just a little bit earlier, just about your thoughts and how your thoughts become solidified in this matter. You know what I mean? And he's just telling you right there, it's on the mental plane, it's not that solid. You can make your thoughts flow easy. When you're anybody that has done lucid dreaming, right? So when you lucid dream, pretty much you can make anything happen at any given second. So let's say I'm in my meditation, I'm trying to lucid dream. No matter what I want to create, I can create. I can create the world, any world from the ground up. So I always start with the ground. So let's say I want to go create something. Boom, I'll pick the. Let's say I want to be bluegrass. So I just picture a field of bluegrass, just as far as I can see. I'll start with one thing, just focus on that, boom. So once I get the bluegrass, it's gonna come. It's gonna come if you have to focus, and once you get to that level, you know what I mean, they'll come to you, but you can get there. So boom, you start that, and then let's say I want to see purple mountains. So boom, I'll just visualize purple mountains, but still visualizing the bluegrass. I'm adding on layers, you know what I mean? But it's the same thing. But it can happen so fast in the mental plane, in the astral world, because nothing is dense, nothing is solid. So there's no restrictions. The matter restricts you here. So you can do the same thing with this reality to a certain extent. You know what I mean? You can attract certain things. You can do a lot. You know what I mean? But under certain contexts, you know what I mean? I don't want to get ahead of myself. That'd be after something else that I would come to. But it's actually no limits with this reality too. But you really have to get into it, and it's a whole nother level that you can, you know what I mean, that you can unlock. But you have to take the steps. So starting with just affecting it in the slightest way and building up the confidence. See, the confidence is the key. And the more confident you is in believing that you can affect this reality, the more control you have. You know what I mean? So you start with believing, oh, I can make myself, I can make myself have more money. I can make more people like me. I can make, you know, A, B, and C happen, which is just very, very small things that you can do. You know what I mean? I can attract this. I can repel that. You know, these are small things that you can do to just build up the confidence to get to the higher levels. And like I said, man, this is all really something that's really we starting to remember. This is something that we was used to be able to do a long time ago, and we really just been asleep to it. And this is what the planet and everybody is waking up to. Just possibilities that everybody has. This is something that everybody can do. And with the time and the age that we're going in, it all coincides. You know what I mean? This wasn't probably, well, it was possible for people to do in the last age, but everybody couldn't do it in the last age. The age that we're going into, it's going to be up for everybody. The only restriction is going to be yourself. Do you have the patience? And do you have the belief that you can do this? That's the only restrictions in the new age. So, you know what I mean? It's coincides with the age that we're moving into. And this is what we're rediscovering, our own powers within us. You know what I mean? And like I said, some people just come and they just come and they want to share. Some people like to keep the information to themselves. You know what I mean? But I'm a firm believer in that. You know what I mean? If you have the capability, then why not empower yourself? You know what I mean? I don't want to keep anything to myself. I believe in sharing. I believe in helping my brothers and sisters. I really believe that at the bottom of my heart. So this is why I just come and I try to tell people, you know what I mean? I know a lot of people this not really going to stick for the majority of people, but it's going to be a couple of people out there that's going to be like, okay, it's something to this. So if you got that bug and it's you know what I mean, it's bothering you, I tell you, definitely look more into it. Get more into the practice because it's possible and it will reveal itself to you if you take it serious, for real. You know what I mean? Moving right along, he talks about, he started talking about killing people. He says to kill for self-protection or food on your plane does not involve what we may call the first-time karmic consequences. To kill for convenience or for the sake of killing involves rather dire consequences, and the emotional value behind such killings is often as important as what is killed. That is, the lust for killing is also a matter that brings dire consequences, regardless of the particular living thing that is killed. Like, this is something else that I just wanted to come on and touch on real briefly. Like I said, something else that I knew to be true, because it's something else that I had, Spirit had just came and explained to me in meditation like years ago. You know what I mean? So a lot of stuff be really just confirmation for me, and then when I get that confirmation, I feel more confident just coming and sharing it with everybody else, because I'm like, okay, I know it's true. You know what I mean? And I don't ever want to come and try to share something that I don't believe to be true, or I don't know to be true, or that I haven't had some type of personal, connection with. So he says to kill for self-protection or food on your plane does not involve what we may call karmic consequences. So something we already know. The Indians talk to, this is old knowledge. You know what I mean? Old shamans been through this. You know what I mean? They used to pray over their animals before, they killed them. You know what I mean? They was one with everything. So, but what's important is, he says, to kill for convenience or for the sake of killing involves rather dire consequences. So this is what we talk about. It's the motivation and the intent behind your actions that really dictate, the consequences or the karma. You know what I mean? So he says the lust for killing is also a matter that brings dire consequences, regardless of the particular living thing that is killed. You know what I mean? So it doesn't matter if if you killing ants, if you just in a bad mood and you just want to go kill something, you just go outside and find a random pile of ants. That energy that you put into it, that mental state, is going to attract the same, karma as if you was killing, something else, or that you was, what I mean? It's the same energy. It's the attraction and the repulsion. Remember, everything's magnetic, especially your thoughts. So I just thought it was important to talk about that. He also says, as I have told you before, in a manner of speaking, you are given the gifts of gods. Your beliefs become reality. What you believe is and become real in your experience. There is no area in your life to which this does not apply. Same thing over and over again, you know what I mean? And before I really start getting into a lot of other magical, concepts and a lot of other things that I do and a lot of the other things that you can do, is really that you understand this real basic thing. If you don't, you know what I mean? If you do, man, kudos to you. You definitely on your way. But if you don't, I just want to keep touching on it. As I have told you before, in a manner of speaking, you are given the gifts of gods. You, inside of you. You have it inside of you. You can manipulate this reality. It's yours. This is your creation. If you want to come and seize it and take control of it, it's there for you. Your beliefs become reality. What you believe is and become real in your experience. There is no area in your life to which this does not apply. Knowledge about mental energy and its use is learned by constantly transforming your thoughts and emotions into physical form. Powerful. Knowledge about mental energy and its use is learned by constantly transforming your thoughts and emotions into physical form. This is what evolution is. This is the basics of evolution. You constantly transform your thoughts and your emotions into physical form, and by then perceiving and dealing with the matter and events that are formed. You keep incarnating, and you keep creating these realities, and you keep interacting with your own creations till one day you realize, or you have the sudden insight, wait a minute, I'm creating this. This is what evolution is. One day you're going to get to the point and you're going to realize that you're creating everything, and you're going to realize that you can take control and start creating it the way you want. And when you get to that point in your evolution, that's your illumination. Your realization that you're creating everything. That's what illumination is. And not only realizing it, but taking control of it. And understanding the ways to take control of it, and taking and controlling it by the proper laws. You know what I mean? That's what's going to enable you to keep control of it. So he says, every nerve and fiber within the body has an unseen inner purpose. Every nerve and fiber within the body has an unseen and inner purpose. Nerve impulses travel outward from the body. Every nerve and fiber within the body has an unseen inner purpose. Nerve impulses travel outward from the body along invisible pathways in much the same manner that they travel within the body. Again, what I was talking about with Alex Gray. If you get into some of his art, you'll see this exactly. These pathways are carriers of telepathic thoughts, impulses, and desires, containing all the codified data necessary for translating any thought or image into physical actuality, altering seemingly objective events. Once again, just telling you how you can control it. Plain and simple, man. You got control. Moving right along, he says, the intensity of a thought or image largely determines the immediacy of the physical materialization. Something else I talked on just a little bit earlier. And really, like I said, this is another keys of magic. Just the intensity of your thoughts. What I talked about a little bit before, but it's really how much do you believe in what you're doing. that's gonna up the intensity. That's gonna make the magnet more stronger. That's what you're trying to do. If you're trying to pull something in, you want the biggest magnet possible. You know what I mean? You want the biggest force. You want to create the biggest force field so you have the greater chance of pulling in exactly what you want, the way you want it, you know? A lot of people get what they want, but they don't get it the way they want it. They don't get it the time that they need it. You know, you need a bigger magnet. The intensity of your thoughts, your beliefs. This is what he's talking about. And really, this is magic, man. And when you really start studying it, you'll really see that it makes a difference. When you really start getting into it, you know. The intensity of a thought or largely determines the immediacy of the physical materialization. All such images or thoughts are not completely materialized in your perception, as their intensity may be too weak. Now, what I talked about earlier about how you can really manipulate this, even this matter, the way you want it to any way you want. And I say it's really the steps, but that's really how, because it's how much do you believe, you know. If it's, and I'll just talk about my personal experience one time that I did. I was doing, actually I was doing a spirit dance, and this is something that I'm gonna go into in a lot in detail about the power of dance, because this is something that I haven't heard anybody talk about, especially connected with magic, like in the modern times. I haven't, and man, and dancing is the second most powerful thing that you can do with magic. Having sex is obviously number one. It's nothing more powerful than that creation. But number two, it is nothing more powerful than dancing. Nothing. But I'm gonna go back into that. But one time I was doing this spirit dance, and I actually changed the color of the walls in my room on accident. Like I didn't even, well, yeah, it was accident. I didn't know how I did it, but now I know how I did it. But at the time I didn't know how, like I didn't. But it shit freaked me out for like half a second. I was like, hold on, wait a minute, like what just happened? You know, you get that freeze moment, like, okay, is this gonna change back? Like what just happened? But like I said, I know just by things that I've done on accident and things that I've done intentionally that you can affect this reality in crazy way, in ways that you just can't believe. And I got some real good stories and stuff that I'm just gonna be coming. I'm gonna be starting a new section on the channel as well called Tips and Tricks, and it's gonna be where I just go into a lot of my experience and really just come and share like a lot of things that you can do hands-on. So that's gonna be another section that you can look forward to on the channel. And let me see some other things that I wanted to get into real quick. I'm just gonna wrap this up. He says, physical symptoms are communications from the inner self, indications that we are making mental errors of one kind of another. Something else that I knew to be true before I read it, and it's definitely, you know, your energy body is gonna have holes. You know, and if anybody is, you know, do energy work, it's something you already know. But your energy body is gonna have like certain holes wherever you have like blockages. And those blockages, it starts with your energy body first, and then it trickles down to your physical body. So you might have, you know, whatever it is. You might have, like me, I have cramps in my legs a lot. I have leg issues. And it's because of my energy body, you know, and it's me it's forcing me to build my energy body more. And you know what I mean? Once I build that more, then the more I've been doing that, the less I have like certain leg cramps, like especially like when it rains and stuff like that. Like I'm really in tune like with nature. So especially when it rains, like I know at least a day or two anytime it rains, which is crazy, but it got a lot to do with your energy body. And like I said, something else I knew to be true before I read it, because like I had personal experiences with it. He says, a man's thoughts and dreams are more far-reaching than he knows. They exist in more dimensions. They affect worlds of which he is unaware. They are as concrete in effect as any building. They appear in guises within many systems, and once created, cannot be withdrawn. talking about your thoughts, talking about how once you create them, you can't uncreate them. That's why they're so powerful. They don't die. They go out into the ether and they flow. You know what I mean? So, telling you right here, what we talked on a lot in the last video, just the power of your thoughts. Each dream begins with psychic energy, which the individual transform into reality. Hold on 1 second. Music stop. Gotta keep the music flowing. Wouldn't be right without the music. Anyway, he says, a man's thoughts and dreams are more far-reaching than he knows. They exist in far more dimensions. They affect worlds of which he is unaware. They are as concrete in effect as any building. I mean, just plain and simple. Your ideas are as concrete in effect as any building. They real. But we talked on that in the last video. I ain't gonna get a little more into that. He says, each dream begins with psychic energy, which the individual transforms into reality, which is just as functional and real as physical reality. There is form within dream reality, but the potential form exists within psychic energy long before its materialization. Now, like I said, it's something else that just really resonated with me when I understood it, because I've been on my studies so heavy and just getting into all the H.P. Blavatsky information. And one of the main things that I took from her and her study and her work is the understanding of the concept of the astral light. And when I really started getting into my meditation, this is something I really started interacting with my own, and this is exactly what he's talking about. How your dreams begin with this psychic energy, you know what I mean? How you start formulating the reality. So when I was talking about astral dreaming, when you astral traveling, the astral world is nothing but light. So you start, when you interacting, you using the light to form whatever it is you want. So it's the light that's around you, and the more light that you have, the more that you can do. You know what I mean? And so he says, each dream begins with psychic energy, which the individual transforms into a reality, which is just as functional as physical reality. This reality, these particles, these neutrinos, whatever you want to call it, it's all light. This is a light matrix. Everything down here is made of light, I read in the book, they talked about, I can't even remember the name of the book. It'll come to me later, or maybe I just have to bring it up later. But anyway, he was talking about how water is nothing but condensed astral light, and like this really resonated to me when I read it, and I really feel like this is true, and it makes a lot of sense, because the number one thing on this planet is water. You know what I mean? It's predominantly water, and in the next world, and if water is light, then you understand that this is a light world. The majority of it is light, and it's just different variations and different vibrations of light. That's what everything is. And like I said, and people already know there's certain, if you check some of the videos out on my channel, you'll see people talk about all the time. There's certain variations of light that humans can't even see. But when you start opening up your third eye, you can see more colors, you can see more different things. But that's what it is. It's all right here. It's just about your own interaction with it. But you all create it from within you. You know what I mean? You have control over all of it. You know what I mean? He also says there is no evil, only your lack of perception. It's so true, man. There's nothing scary in this world at all. It's only your thoughts that try to make something be. That's all it is, and that's something else I'm really gonna come and touch on later. And just to finish this up, I just wanted to read this. He says, many quite limiting ideas will pass without scrutiny under the guise of goodness. You may feel quite virtuous, for example, in hating evil or what seems to you to be evil. But if you find yourself concentrating upon either hatred or evil, you are creating it. If you find yourself concentrating upon either hatred or evil, you are creating it because of the power of your thoughts. Very powerful. If you are poor, you may feel quite self-righteous in your financial condition, looking with scorn upon those who are wealthy, telling yourself that money is wrong, and so reinforcing the condition of poverty. If you are ill, you may find yourself dwelling upon the misery of your condition and bitterly envying those who are healthy, bemoaning your state and therefore perpetuating it through your thoughts. So powerful, man. And I'm just going to use that just to sum up the whole thing, man. Just, if you don't take nothing from this, nothing from, my efforts, man, just know that you're powerful, man. Just know that you're powerful. And once you really want to start finding out how powerful, you'll start getting into these practices, and that's what magic is, and that's what this channel is for. I'm gonna start getting into a lot more practices. It's not just to study it, because it's the experience that's really gonna transform you. So I'm gonna start coming and sharing a lot more of my experiences, and hopefully y'all can come and share with me your experiences, man. Please leave me feedback. Like I said, any questions you have, anything you want to know more about, please, I'm here, man. Just drop me some emails, or just leave me some comments on the channel, man. It's Chaos, man. Love.